Welcome to Tansson TV Plus. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Mom.
Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Yep, thank you for joining with us again.
You know, we always love doing this, and Mom, how is your day going thus far?
Brandon, my day is going fine. How about yours?
All was well here, Mom.
That sounds great. Are you ready to talk about another episode of Facts of Life?
I sure am.
Sounds good. And as we've talked about previously, we are kind of examining more in depth about Facts of Life episodes and some pivotal scenes for the show itself. And so we did that in January, continuing in February, and we'll continue throughout March. Also, you'll find this typically on Wednesdays. Anyway, so for this particular episode, we are talking about an episode called Two Guys from Appleton. Brandon, when did that air?
This aired January the 23rd of 1985.
Alrighty. And this is season 6 and episode 17. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the episode and then explain the why. But in this particular episode, Mrs. Garrett reunites with an old boyfriend from high school. They fall back in love within a week and decide to get married. But then by the end of the episode, they decide to take their relationship slower. And then we're also introduced to Kevin in this episode because Mrs. Garrett's boyfriend's son's name is Kevin. And that is the episode in a nutshell.
Mom, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome, Brandon.
And overall, what were your thoughts about this episode right here?
Well, the episode itself was fine. Honestly did not remember a lot of details about this episode. So I guess, what should have stood out initially did not stand out. And I didn't quite realize the importance of the episode when I watched it, 10 years ago, or even in reruns. And actually, I barely remember it in reruns. But yes, so overall, the episode was just fine. I mean, it had its funny parts. It's a typical Facts of Life episode.
Yes, and I know for myself, I don't think I've ever seen this episode before.
Okay. Wow. Well, I know that we watched this in parts because we kind of interrupted every time we tried to watch it. It didn't, for like some episodes that seem like it's a quick 22, 25 minutes, this one seemed to linger on for me. And not just because we were going back and forth with it, it's just like the episode that wouldn't end.
Yeah, I felt that in some senses, and I feel that we're debating, since there was quite a bit of sort of transition in this end part of season 6, we were debating for a little while as to which episode to actually talk about, and we did figure out this is probably the one that speaks most about the transition, which is why we chose it, but I feel like it's just a slower episode, and while it does share a lot of the transitional moments, in the same regard, it's just enough. It doesn't really stand out to me as an episode.
Yeah. I agree with you. And let's explain a little bit to the audience why we actually selected this episode. We selected this for two reasons. First of all, the character of Kevin is introduced in this episode. We learned that Kevin is, as I mentioned, the son of Mrs. Garrett's boyfriend. And Mrs. Garrett herself ends up actually going out for a little bit on the show, and she spends some time with her boyfriend Ted. But Kevin ends up staying in Peekskill, and he ends up enrolling in school there. And so we use this episode because it does two things. First of all, it explains the absence of Mrs. Garrett, and then it also explains the introduction of Kevin to the show itself.
Yes, and something that is interesting about this is that, one, we don't know anything about this Ted prior to this point. Neither does Mrs. Garrett even remember about him until given the reminder that he's coming to town. But yeah, they decide to get married and leave, and then decide to instead just go steady instead.
Yeah. So a lot of things are brought up with Ted, and we learn about her past relationship. So it does give a little bit about Mrs. Garrett's past. So we do learn that about her. But then we didn't really at this point in time, we don't know the importance of Kevin. We just know that he's introduced as the son of Ted, and he seems to get along with the girls. And so, um, he becomes actually, I don't want to say a series regular, but he's on there at that point in time for 5 episodes. I'm not quite sure in the real world what happened after that, but on the TV show itself, he was there for 5 episodes.
Yes, and so like I said, this is his first one, the 17th of the season, and so he stays up until episode 24 over the course of 5 episodes, and then just really never mentioned again.
Yeah. I will say that Kevin does blend in as a character. He's not one that stands out. He's not like Kelly that we've talked about, who to me just kind of stood out. But kind of like Andy, he just kind of blends in as an extra character in the show.
Yes, and similar to the whole Kelly situation back in season 5, where I guess that was only a season ago. As of us discussing this, it feels like it's been so much longer ago. But whereas Kelly, Kelly had made it into the theme song proper, and Innocence was shown a few times, and then had an episode devoted to her, and then quietly disappeared. Kevin, similarly, while he didn't make it into the theme song, he did eventually have one episode that was truly devoted to him, and then he disappeared 2 episodes later.
Yeah, and I will say the episode that's devoted to him was a nice episode. They did a really nice job. It was funny. It was not serious like the one with Kelly. They just kind of blended Kevin in just as the extra body that is there on the show.
Yes, and that episode we're referring to is the episode "Man in the Attic," which is episode 21 of the season, and that's one I'm pretty sure both of us have memorized.
We have that. We both have that memorized. You are correct, and it's like one of my favorite episodes of Facts of Life.
But yes, but one of the reasons, like we are saying, that we chose two guys from Appleton instead is because of that significance with Ted. And what were your thoughts about Ted as a character? Mrs. Garrett just decided to just at first just elope with him, next day.
Well, I mean, he was just okay. Actually, I was more amused by Kevin. So Ted was just okay for a character. I mean, it was a match for Mrs. Garrett. It was fine. If he had stayed on the show, I don't know what my thoughts would have been. I think it would have changed the dynamic of the show too much. So Ted was just okay.
And I think what's sort of strange about this, at least in my perspective, is I think the highlight is supposed to be that Mrs. Garrett's getting married and she has this new man, and her son is now basically almost the is now automatically welcome into the sort of uh, Mrs. Garrett's like little made up family. All that to say though is what's throwing me off is the fact that Ted is never seen again, but yet Kevin is almost a semi regular at starting with this episode for those 5.
Yeah, Ted is never seen again, and then Mrs. Garrett leaves, so he's just kind of left over.
But yes, and so while Mrs. Garrett is present in the episode immediately following this to some extent, like we were saying, she is gone for the 6 episodes that followed, only to return for Natalie's graduation at the end of the season.
Yes, yes.
And I mean, speaking about this transition, since this is helping us end out the 6th season, what were your thoughts about sort of that lapse of time where Mrs. Garrett was not present?
Well, they referred to her in each of the episodes, and I think the Facts of Life did a really great job of making sure that the girls really incorporated really well. So the show was not necessarily dependent on Mrs. Garrett, and so I think they filled in the gap pretty well. Of course, I missed the Mrs. Garrett presence in the show, but I think they addressed it, and they have phone calls from her, off screen and everything. But they did refer back to her.
Yes, and something about that too is in those episodes where they do the phone call for her, most of the cases she is with Ted, supposedly.
Yes, yes. So they do leave that. They leave that in, so the audience does know that she has a life doing something.
So yeah, but overall, I mean, did you think that this was a significant transition within the series?
I think I think it was a significant transition for the series itself. Like I said, she does come back for the following season, where she does have a very large role when she comes back.
So, Mom, would you say that this is a significant part of the series?
I think it is because there is going to be a gap in time, and I think it is important for us to know why Mrs. Garrett is gone. Because after all, she is the guardian for 2 of the girls there, and so for Natalie and Tootie, I mean, someone needs to know why the guardians are missing.
Yes, definitely. And I feel that this is also allowing some time for the girls to become more independent. I mean, they are older now, and so, and again, Natalie is on the cusp of graduation. Tootie has a year left, and so I mean, they're kind of on their own and independent, and they don't need Mrs. Garrett hovering as much within the series. And so, but I like that this was a Mrs. Garrett focus episode, though.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. And Brandon, you know, I like rating the shows 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. I gave this one a 3.
And Mom, I will have to agree with that.
All right. Do we have any connections with this episode?
So, not necessarily in terms of big connections. Of course, this episode is directed by John Boab, that we had mentioned in last week's, but we do have a connection that is one that is throughout the facts of life, but one we haven't acknowledged in a while.
All right. What's that?
So one of the theme music composers is, of course, Alan Thicke, and then the singer was his wife at the time, Gloria Loring.
Yes, yes. And of course, we know Alan Thicke from Growing Pains.
So yeah, so like I said, it's been quite a while since we've mentioned that connection the first time in this series, so we wanted to make sure to acknowledge that.
Yes, yes. And just so the audience knows, we did end up watching, I think, almost all of Kevin's episodes today. So it took us a little while, but, you know, he is an enjoyable character.
Yes, and I already know what the answer is, but if you had to pick, what is your favorite episode with him in it? Or actually, I don't know if I actually know the answer. What is your favorite part of him in it? Only because I know that some of your favorite episodes are ones with him in it.
Yeah, and actually, it is the one with Man in the Attic is my favorite episode with Kevin in it, and something about a cow. So if you kind of, so for those who are very familiar, you'll know what scene I'm talking about.
So yes, that's definitely a good one to know. And sort of going to what you're saying about him blending in the backgrounds, you didn't even remember that he was in one of your other favorite episodes.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. It wasn't until I turned it on and then I realized, well, I had memorized this line that he had when he was on there. So yeah, so like I said, Kevin did a good job of blending in, or they did a good job of creating a character that blended in with the show.
Yes, and the episode that we were just referring to was Gone with the Wind Part One.
Yes, yes, it is.
Well, Mom, is there anything else that you have to say for this end of season 6 transition?
No, Brandon, I think we've hit all of it. And you guys let us know. Do you guys remember Kevin from the Facts of Life? If so, let us know your favorite memory of him.
Yes, definitely let us know. And fun fact, he actually ended up becoming I believe, and Mom, as an interesting fun fact, is that he ended up becoming a set dresser for TV shows.
Oh, wow. Wow, that is an interesting fact. Wow.
So yes, and so of course his name is Ryan Cassidy.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, we thank everybody for watching today.
We look forward to seeing you next time.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.